You're listening to Confessions of a Counselor podcast. Here we will talk all things mental wellness.
Hi everyone, Janice here, and welcome back to Confessions of a Counselor. So today I thought we would talk about enoughness. So this is something that I talk about with my clients, and something that is near and dear to me because most of the clients that I see struggle with their enoughness. I would say the majority of people struggle with their enoughness. And I did too for a really long time. And still, it comes up, right? It's still a belief system that pops up every now and then that I really have to do my work around and make sure that I'm being kind to myself about it. And so talking about enoughness and recognizing the importance of realizing our enoughness is something that's near and dear to me. As you can probably tell, that I call myself a self-worth activist, and I think that enoughness is really at the core of that work. So when I talk about enoughness, I understand that it's not grammatically correct. But when I talk about the term enoughness, this is the concept and the idea behind recognizing our worth, right? So recognizing that we might have been told stories. We might have certain beliefs. We might have not grown up in a very emotionally secure environment where as a child we started to question whether or not we're enough, whether or not we have enough to offer, whether or not we have enough to share, whether or not we're producing enough. I hear this all the time, that somehow our enoughness is directly correlated to our productivity, which is just not true. And so recognizing and realizing that this enoughness is just innate, right? That no matter how much you produce, no matter how much our parents told us that they loved us, no matter what support looked like growing up and now, our enoughness doesn't change. So our worth doesn't change. We are enough just because we are here. And that is so very essential to this self-worth work that I do, right? So I had a client who truly believed that they were lazy, right? That they weren't contributing enough, that their mental health was hindering them from being the best version of themselves, and that innately they were just a lazy person. And when I started to question this belief of laziness, which I didn't see, right? This was not my experience of this person. And when I started to question that and ask about all the work they had been doing to understand their mental health, all of the work that they had been doing to improve their relationships, they realized that this lazy message was just something that they had received as a child. That because of their undiagnosed mental health when they were young, their struggle to be productive was seen as laziness versus this inability to actually do what everyone else was doing because of the struggle that they were experiencing. And so I think that this story really highlights why it's so important to recognize our enoughness and to rumble our story a little bit, to question what are these stories, what are these beliefs that I'm telling myself about myself that are just not true, right? And so starting to recognize that our enoughness comes from being a human being, right? Our enoughness comes from the things that are not what we're doing, but what we're being, right? So this idea that who we are is what we share with the world, not what we're producing for the world, and that our enoughness doesn't need to be defined by anyone else other than ourselves.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Confessions of a Counselor podcast is available anywhere you like to listen to your podcast, both on Apple and Android. New episodes will be released every Friday. If you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to join the conversation. Leave a review or subscribe to the podcast hosted on the Anchor app. All these details can be found at janicelyons.com. Until next time, take care.